Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to today's opinions video following one of the best Raws I think we're going to see this year, next year, any year. It was absolutely incredible. So many comments to get through, so let's get through them. A little bit later, we will take a look at your match scores and your show score, and they are noteworthy, right? They are definitely something you're going to want to see. Certainly the show score, it's incredible, right? So let's get into it. Frosty Breaks Kayfabe said, one of the best in a very long time, and that's saying something because the show has been damn good lately. That said, I do think it continues the trend of Roman barely feeling like part of the story. We're getting a great Cody versus Rock feuds, not Cody versus Roman feuds. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. What I would say, though, is I thought last night that closing segment with The Rock, and he's got the Mama Rhodes belt, and he's saying, Mama Rhodes, and he's putting the blood on the belt and everything. For me, that is still building up Cody not finishing his story. This is The Rock kind of doing Roman's work in a way. I think it'll turn out that Roman didn't send The Rock. I think it'll turn out Roman didn't know that The Rock was going to be there. Maybe even didn't know that Solo and Jimmy were going to be there. I think we'll find that out maybe Friday, next Monday, and plant a few seeds that clearly not everything is harmonious within the bloodline. But for me, this is still building up the, I suppose, main focus, which is, will Cody finish his story? Whether it's going to be Roman that's going to stop him doing that, or Rock that's going to stop him doing that. Will Cody finish his story? I don't disagree, though. Definitely, it feels like we're getting Cody versus Rock at WrestleMania a lot more than it feels like we're getting Cody versus Roman. Zahar said, did you see the face that Seth made after hyping up Jey? Something's cooking. Rabbi said, one of the best Raws since a very long time. I agree with you, Daze. 9 out of 10. I loved it. Thank you, my friends. I am going to try and not give too many thoughts in this video. I was saying this in yesterday's live stream, Raw live stream. If you want my thoughts, that's all in a separate review video. We do it straight after the show, immediately after the show. And so this is your thoughts, your opinions, your theories, and really we're going to dig into what the community thought here. So, yes, thank you, appreciate it. Logan said, Daze, I'm more excited for The Rock versus Cody than Roman versus Cody. It was a great Raw. My rating is a 9.7. WWE fans want Rock versus Cody match. One little question is, do you think Rock versus Cody is one of the best feuds in WWE history? I don't know, to be honest. I mean, it's difficult to say it's one of the best feuds because it hasn't been going very long. It's only been going a couple of months. So, I think in order for it to be one of the best feuds, it's going to need to have a lot more time. It might even need to have a couple of matches, and I think about feuds. I think about, say, Undertaker versus Kane, or I think about Stone Cold and The Rock, or I think about Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, which then led into Undertaker Triple H. And that spanned a 4-year period. Actually, you could include a lot more matches than that. But if you're just going to count WrestleMania 25 to WrestleMania 28, then you've got that kind of 4-year periods. So it's, we're talking a couple of months here. So I think it's hard to say that it's one of the best feuds. I think at the moment, what we can say is that it's one of the best stories that we've seen in a long time. I think that the build for WrestleMania, I don't know quite how it'll be remembered because living in this moment, there's quite a bit of criticism for the builds. People are saying that Roman feels secondary. People are saying that there's a lot of other stories that feel like they're pushed to the side. Feels like The Rock has overshadowed everything. But saying that, we've had some amazing segments, and I think the ending of Raw is going to live long in my memory. You know, Cody, the rain really made it as well. Cody being outside in the rain, like just on his hands and knees, and The Rock just being so vicious. And then him producing the Mama Rhodes belt, and that's the first time we've seen it. And the blood and the swearing, and it just all felt so urgent and necessary, and it just felt like you had to be watching this. And it's been a long time since we've seen something like that, so I would say when all is said and done, we might be seeing one of the best feuds ever, but very hard to say that at this stage. Jaden said, amazing, one of the best Raws in a long time, absolutely smashed it from top to bottom, hyped up Mania very, very well. Elia Punk said, very good episode, high stakes, drama, storytelling, and some NXT TakeOver level in-ring action. 9 out of 10 for me. Cameron Wrestling said, Jim never wanted Jey to win a title without him. Almost every title fight Jey has had without Jim has cost him, except for when he won with Cody and fought Seth for a world title. Jey versus Roman, all 3 times Jimmy cost Jey the tag titles, with Cody and Jey versus Gunther. He's jealous. There we go. So, fun little history lesson that Jimmy has always been jealous of Jey and always trying to make sure that he doesn't succeed without him. Intoxicated Drums said, Becky went hard on the mic this week and Dom took a hell of a hit. That kid has got good falls. Wrestle Darcy said Raw was so unbelievably good. Everything was just on point. The spots, the crowd, the outcomes, just perfect. WWE is literally on fire right now. I don't know that they're literally on fire. But they are on fire, you are correct. Ryan said, easily one of the best WWE Raw episodes of modern day wrestling. Fire after fire. There's a lot of fire going on. I can't really ask for more. People should hate The Rock by now. If they still haven't, because that's what their intention, this is cinema. I think we can safely say goodbye to the PG era. 10 out of 10. That's really interesting one, actually. Are we saying goodbye to the PG era? Or is it, I mean, what are we going to do with Netflix? I think it was CM Punk that said we're not quite at Netflix yet, kind of indicating that this could be the direction that we're going. Maybe this was a taste of what's to come. I don't know how often they're going to be able to get away with this on USA Network. Because we know that, you know, there's obviously a lot of regulation and whatever. How did The Rock word it? I think it was like standards and practices, wasn't it? Something like that. They don't like the cussing. So, yeah, this felt different. This Raw felt different. This felt maybe like a glimpse into the future. I don't know if we get this every week now. I think it'd be a big ask to expect a Raw of this quality on a consistent basis, but they've now got something which is a template for what Raw can be going forwards. You know, because in wrestling, you never quite know what the fan base wants. You're always trying to give the fan base things that you think they're going to like. And I would say 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work, either because of execution or the original idea wasn't right. So, you know, you're throwing loads of stuff at the wall. Some of it will stick, some of it won't, most of it won't. But what they delivered was a Raw which I've seen pretty much universal praise for. Pretty much universal praise. I mean, there's only the odd comment that I've seen where people didn't seem to enjoy it as much as everybody else, but all the reviews and everyone that spoke about it seems to be really like on board with this was one of the best Raws they've seen in a long time, which is, you know, a big template for WWE to go, that's the kind of standard. That's what we need to be delivering. That is what we need to work from, basically. This is the blueprint, which is just worth its weight in gold. Could you imagine if AEW put on a Dynamite that everyone raved about and everyone that watched it thought was absolutely brilliant, then they would have a template for this is it, this is what we need to do on a more regular basis. That would be worth its weight in gold to Tony Khan. So, you know, all companies are looking for that, are looking for an indication as to where is the audience. And I think WWE got that last night. Look at your boy, Mama Rhodes, said JD Jr. Yeah, man, iconic. Amanda said, yes, best Raw, WrestleMania is cooking. JD Jr. said the build to this year's WrestleMania has been a chatty one. Glad to finally see some physicality in this year's builds, outside of the slaps. Can't believe we got blood, lol. Side note, something feels off with this year's Mania. Doesn't feel like the fancy extravaganza that it normally is. I think part of the issue is that Rock has overshadowed everything, and this Cody Roman story has overshadowed everything. And so that is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. A lot of the rest of the card feels a little bit underbaked. Doesn't feel like it has really stepped up and is carrying any weight. I can't say that Logan, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton is carrying any of the weight of WrestleMania. Maybe Gunther and Sami's carrying a little. I think we've done a little more with that, but not much. Io and Bayley as well, maybe carrying a little, but not much. The tag belts, maybe a little after yesterday with that big beatdown that we saw. But again, not much. It's really being carried. We are strapping WrestleMania to the back of Cody Rhodes, Rock, Roman, Seth. You know, Drew definitely playing his part. But I think if the rest of the cards had been a little bit, you know, baked better, it's probably the best way I can word it, then maybe it would feel like, oh my God, that match is going to bang, that match is going to bang. You'd have so much more that you would be excited for, rather than, I think, the main event just overshadowing everything, which is kind of how it feels to me at the moment. Right. Spectre Edge said this Chicago Raw had two of the best segments in recent pro wrestling history. Rock Cody and especially Punk Drew Seth. Seemingly unscripted work shoots, outside references, everyone hated each other, TV 14 swearing, fire, wow, all hits, no misses, LFG. I completely agree with that. Both, you know, I agree. I just agree. I think that's two of the best segments I've seen in a long time on the same show, with other parts of the show carrying weight, like the Rhea Becky bit where Becky started getting like really upset. That was, you know, oh my God, what's going on? Like that to me was, whoa, what's this? I really enjoyed Bronson beating Sami as well. I think that carried a bit of weight. As we said, the tag match might not have been the greatest thing, but Judgment Day laying everyone out, including R-Truth, and R-Truth on commentary, which was awesome, but that definitely added some more to that tag match at WrestleMania, and it needed it as well. So I feel like we definitely did not only focus on these key moments, these key matches, but we did elevate some of the secondary ones as well. So I would say Raw did a lot of work this week. It did a lot of work. It definitely raised my interest in that tag match, raised my interest a bit more in the Intercontinental because of Chad and Sami and that dynamic. Like, what's going on there? Is Chad going to be Sami's mentor? Like, is he going to give him that different approach? I don't know quite what's going on with that, but I'm interested. So Intercontinental Championship got a little more interest in that match. The tag match got a little more interesting as well. Rhea and Becky, with Becky getting so upset, that got interesting. And then, of course, you know, the main event stuff, the two world title matches, they've been booked pretty well anyway. Certainly the stuff with The Rock and Cody and that closing sequence, just, so good. So good. John said, easily the best Raw. We were spoiled once again, no question. Rock is doing an incredible job making this Cody win at WrestleMania a win to remember. Jill said it was amazing. The Cody Rock segments, the Punk Drew Seth segment, the Rhea Becky segment, Candice heel turn, good shout, and tag division is alive and well. Yeah, that didn't get any time, but I think they're using their digital exclusive interviews really well, because I don't know if you've been watching those or following it on Unseen, but they're still doing work away from the show in regards to that feuds, and it's really adding to it. And right now, we don't know what's going to happen with Indy and Candice. They seem to be at odds. Indy actually going and apologizing to Maxine and Ivy Nile after Raw for Candice's actions. And Candice basically said, look, you either need to do things my way or find yourself a new tag partner. So, yeah, that, there's some good stuff going on there. You're absolutely right. 777 said, it's beautiful, beautiful cinema. Razzie said, I'm ready for Mania. The end. Fire, fire. TJ Hayes said, I believe WWE has started the ruthless attitude era. Best Raw in a very long time. The fans haven't been this excited in a very long time. Vetrix said, best Raw all year and one of the best endings I have ever seen. Robert said, one of the best Raws in years. I honestly can't remember being this excited for any WrestleMania before. Gareth said, Raw was amazing. I very think about the storylines and I can't wait for WrestleMania this year. Very Wrestling News said, this is the best Raw of the year, 100%. 10 out of 10 Raw for me. The Rock was not advertised for the show, so his appearance was surprising. I think the ending of the show almost confirmed for me that Cody is winning the undisputed title, and he's going to finish his story at WrestleMania 40. Yeah, it would be crazy to have Cody beaten down in the rain that horrifically, and then he still goes on to lose. So, yeah, it does feel like his revenge is coming. It does feel like we are a few weeks away from that story. Not even that. Less than that now. 12 days, is it? Away from the story being finished and Roman's historic title reign coming to an end. And what a moment that is going to be. The wrestling world will be watching. And I'm sure many tears will be shed. Harry said it was an unreal episode, mate. Great bit at the end with Rock and Cody. I want your thoughts on this, because now I can bet the house on the fact that Rock isn't turning on Roman at Mania after all of this great heelish stuff. What first springs to mind when you think about how this plays out? How this plays out? Are we talking about after Mania? Well, I put my flag in the ground a week or two ago about that I didn't think The Rock would turn. I was basing that on the fact that if The Rock was working with Cody, why would he be trying to win on night one? Why would he be trying to win on night one to make night two more difficult? That doesn't make sense. Unless he was going to actually try and lose on night one, but that's not going to make for a very compelling match, is it? If one of the participants is trying to sabotage it, that's a storyline which is probably not the right fit for the main event of WrestleMania night one. Really, you want both teams going all out, trying to win, digging deep. You want all of that. You don't really want one person trying to sabotage the match. So for me, I was looking at it thinking, well, if he's going to try and win night one with Roman, how is he, or how does that work with him working with Cody? And I couldn't quite get that to work in my head. So I was like, I think they're just going to go with The Rock and Roman being a unit. So for me, I like this path. If this is the path we're going down, I like this path because I think I want The Rock to stand by Roman. The Rock is about family. We know what that means. Family stands by each other. You know, Roman's got the shirt that says family above all. So for me, that should be a tight unit, right? And it should be that The Rock is doing everything to keep that belt on Roman. When Roman loses to Cody, right, that is going to really be an embarrassing moment for the Anoa'i family, because all of a sudden, you know, Rock is acknowledging his tribal chief, right? But he actually outranks Roman in the family. So tribal chief makes Roman the leader of the WWE universe. This is something we learned from a Paul Heyman interview, whereas The Rock is actually a high chief in the family. So family-wise, The Rock outranks Roman. WWE-wise, Roman outranks The Rock, right? Technically not in a job role. I mean, technically Rock is on the board, but this tribal chief moniker is clearly something that The Rock has acknowledged, right? So in the storyline world, in the kayfabe worlds, Roman outranks The Rock, and The Rock is willing to fall in line. But is he going to be willing to fall in line if Roman loses at WrestleMania and embarrasses the family by losing the Undisputed Championship on the biggest wrestling stage we've ever seen, right? All of a sudden, you can imagine The Rock maybe not being as loyal, maybe having some questions. And I really think a slow burn of, like, you know, The Rock, I wouldn't do it as an immediate turn. I wouldn't do it like that. I would do it as a slow burn, and then I would do the turn SummerSlam or something along those lines. I would just have key moments as we head towards like a show in the summer where you could do it then. Or you could even do it Survivor Series. Tension all year, and then boom, finally they break up at Survivor Series, or they break up at Royal Rumble. And then, of course, we're set, aren't we, for WrestleMania? Rock versus Roman. So, for me, I would be looking to do something along those lines, because I just think all these... I think if you do the turn at WrestleMania or just after WrestleMania, I think you're leaving a lot of money on the table, because wrestling fans love those little looks. They love those little Easter eggs, those little... Did you just see how The Rock looked at Roman? Did you just see how The Rock looked at that little snarl or something? That will go all over the internet. They love those little looks. Look at Seth's look after Jey walks through the curtain. That's got people talking. And of course, the production truck, those little kind of Easter eggs and whatever. That wrestling fans love that. They absolutely love that. And I think you can do tons of that as we tease Rock and Roman splitting apart. So I wouldn't do it as an immediate thing, because I think you leave a lot on the table. I would do it over, like, you know, a period of time. Maybe if you do it at Survivor Series, then that still gives you months and months and months to do segments of Rock and Roman face to face as we head towards WrestleMania 41. So those are my thoughts, Harry. Rizo said, I think this was the best Raw probably since the Attitude Era. The Rock is obviously outstanding, but I thought the likes of Drew, Seth, Punk, and Ricochet really stepped up their games. Prakar said, one of the best Raws I have ever seen. The only downside I thought was Becky's promo. Either it didn't connect well, or the fans just didn't care. Well, that's really interesting, because I thought there was a few moments in there that were a bit clunky. I didn't like Rhea calling Becky a cockroach. That, after the CM Punk stuff, was a bit too tame, a bit too PG. That is the problem, really, when you've got people out there that are swearing their heads off and giving you like all this very real kind of promo. They're jumping in on each other, getting in little digs, headshots. You know, I mean, some of the lines from that Vince line from Punk, oh my God. So when you've got a segment that's doing that, and then you compare it to Rhea calling Becky a cockroach, that to me was not a good comparison. That to me was a pretty weak line. But for me, my big takeaway from that segment was when Becky started getting upset and talking about her dad, and it felt like the segment was going off the rails. That moment, to me, that felt quite real. It felt very awkward, but it felt real as well at the same time. And I really felt like I was watching something significant, and I really appreciated that. So I wouldn't disagree that parts of that segment, parts of that promo were didn't feel quite right, but people love the punch to Dominic. I've seen that all over social media. People absolutely love the punch that Becky delivers. I think people enjoyed Rhea's line about sit your daughter down and let her watch me and listen as she calls me mommy. I didn't see loads of people talking about Becky getting upset, to be honest. I didn't see loads of people talking about that bit. But that bit really stood out to me because I didn't know if we were going off track. I didn't know if that was scripted or if she'd really got offended by that line in the moment. But there was enough in that segment for me to be like, wow, I really feel like I've just seen something there. And it increased my excitement for seeing them two compete at WrestleMania. So for me, it did its job. But I can understand where you're coming from in that not all of it landed. I can understand that. And that parts of it felt awkward, but I sort of liked it as a result. So Prakash, shout out to you. John from Orange said, I thought it was absolutely great. Daze, you are the best. Literally all of that checks out, John. Yep, appreciate it. Charles said, this shows me that Cody will win at Mania. Rico said, I believe the women could main event night one if it weren't so bloodline heavy. Rhea Becky is going to be a great match, even though I think Rhea retains. Bayley Io could do with Bayley as a new champion. Last thing I wish, I was more excited to have Randy on the card. I think it's just the wrong match, innit? I don't think him being in a match with Logan is fine, but no one wants to see Randy as US champ. I mean, Randy is a 14-time world champion. I mean, he is someone that needs more world championships to get up there with Ric Flair and John Cena. And I don't know that anyone's really desperate to see him win the US title. Him against Logan is fine, but, Kevin Owens being in the picture is a bit crowded. So I don't know, it's just not the match I think we were looking for. It's just not the spot that we want him really to be in, but you've got to get him on the card. And he is coming back from injury, and I'm sure that he could get by with a singles match, but you can sort of understand him being in a triple threat where he doesn't have to do as much work. So yeah, I get it. I agree. I just don't think it's the right place for him. Male Tail Thong said, I absolutely love Raw this week from start to finish. Too much to talk about, but I am not buying those crocodile tears from Becky any more than I bought Cody's crocodile tears a few weeks ago. Great work from both involved. I am giving Raw a 9 disarm hers out of 10. So Male Tail Thong, shout out to you. RC Cinematics Verse said, like I said, we've still got next week to come and after WrestleMania. So there's 2 Raw shows that could beat the greatest Raw I've seen in a long time. Kian said the CM Punk, Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins without doubt felt like segment of the year. Shinsuke Nakamura, I'm starting to find it hard to take this guy seriously. No real feud for this guy, and he just goes for anyone who's already in a feud, and it's just the same story, and he keeps losing. That's true. I feel like they did a good job with this new presentation and his feud with Seth at the end of last year. I think the truth is that we didn't really have anything to follow up on that. So he feuded with Seth. I think he then went into a feud with Cody, and then that concluded kind of around the time we were getting to the Rumble, and then that's it, innit? I mean, there's been nothing for him, and seemingly nothing at WrestleMania. So I don't know what the plan is for him going forward. I would love for him to be in the mix for the World Heavyweight Championship, because I think he should be in the mix for it. He's one of the most decorated superstars on the roster, certainly when you include, you know, what he achieved in Japan. I mean, massive star in Japan. So I would love to see him kind of in the mix for that World Heavyweight Championship. But, yeah, he needs... it's not really a reinvention. He needs wins, doesn't he? He needs momentum. He needs to actually have something to get his teeth into that he can brag about. So we'll have to see what they've got in store for him after WrestleMania. Jesse said one of the best areas... One of the best areas in a while. Don't know what you mean. Always stoked to see Cody. He's on fire and he has my support. 100% I'm behind him. The energy was great from the crowd. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins stood out. Gunther taunting Sami was interesting. Loving the feud with Rhea and Becky. Yeah, I'm only messing. I know that Jesse means Raw. I agree. I mean, a lot of great points there, to be honest. And you're right. The energy from the crowd was awesome. A lot of people were, I think, a bit worried about the stage when they first saw it, and I don't think everyone knew it's because we had sold 15,000 tickets. I think I read this was the highest attended Raw in like 5 years. So we had to have a smaller stage because we were trying to fit as many people in as we could. I think the attendance was about the same as what we got for Survivor Series. Like, it's mental. It is mental. It did feel like a happening. It didn't necessarily even feel like a weekly Raw. If you'd have told me that was a TV special, I would have been like, yeah. Because the energy and the size of the crowd and the moments that we were getting, I mean, it's special. We've just got to enjoy it for what it was. But yeah, I agree. Great energy from the crowd. But Chicago always shows up. TJ said, hot take, best Raw of all time. That's a big statement, dude. That is a big statement. Angie said, just based on what I've seen so far from Raw, I don't think Cody's promo was boring. I think it's just him. Do you think we see Cody Friday or not until the go home? Do you think Punk is healthy enough to be ref or on commentary at Mania? Well, he's healthy enough to be the ref. I mean, there's nothing you got to do in that. So he's absolutely healthy to do it. But I think I agree with what he has said. He can't be impartial with those two competitors. Like, he hates them both, but at different times, he might hate one more than the other. You know, if Drew's berating him, then in that moment, he might want to, you know, count Seth. Whereas if Seth's berating him, he might think, you know, screw you, and he'll count a bit quicker maybe for Drew. Like, he can't stay impartial in that match. And it's a world championship match. You know, it's a terrible idea, him being guest ref for that match. Because what you want for a championship match at WrestleMania is it being called down the middle. You want it to be legit. You want it to be a proper legit contest. So, yeah, for me, him being ref, it's not what I was looking for, to be honest. But they made the mistake of teasing it, and the crowd really wanted it. And then I think one of the criticisms I would have is that it did result in us having to settle for something that wasn't as good. Unfortunately, like, you know, him being on the announce table is not as impressive. It's not what the crowd wanted. So, yeah, I think that they ended up kind of getting something they weren't really looking for. I would have had him as host. I think if you have him as host, you've got him all over both days of WrestleMania. He could pop up anywhere. He could be backstage. He could be in the arena. He could be in the crowd. He could join commentary as the host. He's got a flexibility and a freedom, which I kind of hope he will have anyway. But that host role feels like a good role for him. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going that way. It seems like he's just going to be on commentary. And I think it's because they feel that he can't be impartial to be referee. In regards to Cody Friday, I can't remember his schedule, to be honest. I don't know if he's advertised. Not that it matters. I think he has been making a few appearances outside of his schedule, so it doesn't really matter. I would think he'll be there on Friday. I would think that he will be there on Friday because, you know, this is WrestleMania 40. We know that he's going to be on Raw next week. I can't see why you don't do this SmackDown as well. So if I was a betting man, I'd say, yeah, I think he'll be there. I think he'll be there. Right, I tell you what, let's go, shall we, and have a look at the matches. So let's bring this up and have a look and see. Have I got it all queued up? I do. So this, if we are to find a bit of a criticism, would probably be the criticism that if we look at the match scores, nothing got into that great territory. They were all classed as goods. Some really high. I mean, 99% good is pretty much as close as you're going to get to great without being in great. So Bronson Reed and Sami got real close, but they just couldn't quite get into that great territory. Then we had Ricochet and JD, 97% good. Jey Uso, Shinsuke, 96. Andrade, Giovanni, 95. DIY and New Day was classed, I think, as a no contest. I did look at the official results and there was no winner that was declared. So that's why we don't have anyone in green. No winner in that one because of Judgment Day interfering. So that got 89% goods. Candice LeRae, obviously Ivy Nile, very short, but it did what it needed to do. That got 69%. It's a shame in a way that that score's so low because I really didn't mind it. It did what it needed to do. But unfortunately, it does put it down here really low. It puts it as the 4th worst match. And actually, look how many times Candice LeRae is kind of mentioned down here. 3 times. Actually, up here, there as well. So it seems like, you know, the match quality, the time that she's getting, she's a good wrestler, but the time that she's getting is just not enough for her. Same with Chelsea and Piper, Shayna Baszler as well. That kind of women's tag division does feature quite prominently down here. Oh, and here, look. That was the worst match. That was the one where she, like, berated her during the match. That's the worst scoring match. But these, as you can see, are all the good matches. Loads of them from SmackDown, NXT, Raw, Premium Live events. And then we go into the good, and there we've got our one all-time match, which I keep saying, if we were to regrade, I really think would be maybe more around this sort of range. Sort of around here would be my guess. But this was actually the first match of the year. So it was the first time of a scoring. So I don't ignore it, but I do sort of ignore it. To me, that's the match of the year so far. Ilya Dragunov, Trick Williams is the match of the year so far, with Leare, Roxanne, and Lola cashing in being the second best match. Judgment Day against DIY is the main roster match of the year. But to be honest, I don't know quite where this first Nia Becky match would sit. It was excellent. It was very good, and Nia getting the shock win was a shock. So I don't know. I don't know. I think we might have to try and regrade it one day soon. Let's have a look at the show score, and no surprise, it is coming in as the best show we have seen since we've been scoring. So you can see we've been scoring since the end of 2023, and at the moment this is coming in. I mean, it's untouchable. It will finish in this spot. At the moment, it's had over 330 votes, and it's currently all-time, I think, about 79%, 77, 79. I mean, it's just not even close. It's just not even close. So this thing will go in as the best show that we have seen. So incredible. Absolutely incredible. Right, let's get back to your comments, your thoughts. I think we should be able to fit this in within the hour, but we might need to pick up the pace. Crater Face said, as always, any time that CM Punk is on television, I know it's going to be fire. And the promo between him, Drew, and Seth was cinema at its peak. As for the ending, I mean, again, cinema. That being said, next week, Cody has to be out for Bloods. It has to be that way. Thoughts? I agree. I think the time for talking is done. I think Cody kind of said that in his promo. The time for talking is done. It's almost time for action. Well, them words were very true, because action certainly arrived at the end of this show. So I agree. There is no talking that needs to be done now. It is just all action. So how will Cody respond? Ethan said stupendous. Absolutely loved it. AEW can get anyone they want. They will never be able to beat out WWE. Felt like a Raw after Mania. If this Raw was so good, I think what Triple H has planned for Raw after Mania. Okay. Esmeralda said, I'm maybe a casual wrestling fan, not a fan of The Rock anymore ever since he came back this year. Why can't The Rock just stay away from any form of wrestling after becoming a Hollywood actor? Is his acting career on a slump? Now I am somewhat nervous for Cody at WrestleMania. So, I mean, what I would say with that is, The Rock is someone that actually does stay away quite a bit. We have not seen him this amount of time for years and years and years and years and years. Normally he comes back, say, once a year, if that. I mean, sometimes we don't even see him, go a whole year without even seeing him. So this is quite exceptional. This is very rare that we get all of this from The Rock. And, you know, he's just joined the board, didn't he? I mean, I don't think it's any coincidence. He's now on the board, the TKO board, and all of a sudden he's got invested interest in WWE succeeding. And so now he's really going above and beyond, isn't he? He's really putting a lot of his energy into this to help WWE succeed. And it is in his blood. You know, his dad's, his grandfather, his whole family, the bloodline. We saw that family tree. Wrestling is something that he will never completely be away from. And I don't think he should be. I don't think that he should completely, like, stay away. I mean, I've really enjoyed what he's done. And I wouldn't say everything has landed. And we know that he tried to push Cody out of the main event. Obviously, that was frustrating, but the fans stood up. And just think, if the fans hadn't have stood up, what would we have had instead? You know, this has been brilliant, but this also has not been planned, because we know we were meant to get Rock Roman this year. So it's crazy to think, if that We Want Cody movement hadn't started, where would we be now? What would we be watching instead, you know? Would it be this good? We'll never know. Theodore said, all the people saying that there was no hype on SmackDown's promo between Roman and Cody got their payoff. It's starting to seem like the feud between Rock and Cody is bigger than Roman and Cody. I hope it doesn't affect the storyline leading to WrestleMania. Well, the good news is there's not long, is there? There's only 12 days. So I don't think it can affect it too much. I think that, I really think we'll find out that Roman didn't know The Rock was coming to Raw. That's my sneaky suspicion. We already know The Rock didn't know about Jimmy and Solo the other week. And so it's kind of, there's already been that seed that's been planted. So we'll have to wait and see if he knew about this one. So I think we might be planting a few seeds for what happens either at WrestleMania or after WrestleMania, because we know that we're getting Rock Roman. It's coming, it's happening. We know it's going to happen. It's just, how do we get to it, and when do we get it? The feeling is it will be at WrestleMania 41. And if so, we've got a long time to go. So we can take our time. That's my feeling on it. We can take our time. Maverick said, best episode of the year, just perfection. Dara's fan, shout out to you. Love it. Love the meme. It was, without doubt, the best Raw of the year. Days, it had everything. It was an easy 9.5. I wonder if there's a meme or an image that can sum up how we were all left feeling after Raw finished. ... Found one. Very good. Very, very good. Dara's fan, shout out to you. Austin said, easily the best Raw of the year. The ending was one of my favorite beatdowns since the Bloodline to Drew. My favorite segment was the promo between CM Punk and Drew. Seth didn't really make it better, but watching Punk's quick comebacks to Seth was really entertaining. Excellent point. Jeff said Raw was really fun tonight. Stories progressed, and this was all that we asked for. Nosferatu said copyright. AEW should ask them to withdraw the videos because the full segment was copied. The Rock did that Hollywood style and Cody did the elite style. Both are similar. I don't really know what... I mean, I don't watch AEW anymore, so I don't really know what they could have copied from AEW. I don't know. I can't really make any comment on that. But what I do know is that final closing sequence was amazing. It's one of the best I've seen. Them fighting in the rain with the Mama Rhodes belt. Oh, amazing. So if they have copied it from anywhere, good for them. Gaming Enigma 1994 said the show was amazing from start to finish. I loved the ending because, as people have said, it was like Attitude Era ending with Seth, Punk, Drew promo. Insane also. Aaron said it's the best Raw since Daniel Bryan turned on the Wyatt family. Ooh, that's early, 2014 when he's on the cage? Yes, in a way. That's an amazing, amazing moment, isn't it? That's amazing. Liv Starchild said, definitely the highest ranked Raw in recent memory for me. Blaze Official said Raw was really good. The Rock came to Raw unexpected. CM Punk segment was one of the best in a long time. The fights were good, but the last moment was crazy because bleeding and the Mama belts, the Rhea and Becky with Becky punching Dom. I know that was pain. This show was not PG, said GX Blaze Official. Alan said 10 out of 10. I'll sum it up in one word. What's the words? Nice. Nice. Cinema is the word. I actually don't have my desktop audio turned up on here, so he says cinema. Hang on. I'll turn it up. Here we go. Will it play it now? It might not play it.
Cinema.
There you go. Cinnamon. This has been summed up in one word. Cinnamon. Right, Joey said it was great, 9 out of 10. JD versus Ricochet was match of the night for me. I also love the CM Punk, Drew and Seth promo. I'm still hoping that we get Meat Mania. Overall, the show had a real big Attitude Era feel. I also think that Chad will turn on Sami and cost him the title at WrestleMania. Dean said Raw was excellent. The matches were good, but the best bit for me was the end when The Rock made Cody bleed. But when you've seen Stone Cold on the truck, that could be foreshadowing his involvement in the main event of night 2 of WrestleMania. Watson said the end really felt like something from the Attitude Era, and it was really cinema. If you have seen Avengers Endgame, then you will know the final battle is a crazy event. If that's what they're doing, then it will be amazing. Why not give us Cena, Stone Cold, and whoever else? Masterpiece, said Watson. Challenger Dark said Raw was 9 out of 10. The 3 hours flew by. We won't forget that CM Punk and Drew segment. That's how good it was. How do you think Punk will get involved in the match? Daze, you've been killing it. The unseen videos are now a part of my daily routine. That's amazing. Thank you. How do I think he'll get involved? We might have the referee get injured and then him come in to kind of finish off the job, if you will. I could see it being along those lines. It might also be that he doesn't and he actually stays out the way, but as soon as someone wins, I think then he could get in their face and make it very clear he's interested in being the world heavyweight champion, right? So we definitely could do something afterwards. I mean, I don't think he should necessarily trip someone over or do anything like that. I'm not really looking for anything like that. I don't think he should cost someone or anything. I think let it run, let it be what it's going to be. And then, you know, if he has to get involved because the ref gets bumped, I could totally see that happening. And then he slides in and actually is the one that counts. That way, the person that loses will blame him. There'll be a feud there. There'll be an issue there. He might feud with that person, get the win, which will then mean he can be the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. We could easily do that. Or, as we said, he could just jump in the ring after the match. But yeah, that's going to be very interesting, of course. Terms said best Raw in a long time, and it's not even the Go Home episode. I'm a bit worried about the go homes. Traditionally aren't the best because everything has been done by that point. So go homes usually are like, here's some video packages and whatnot. So I don't know. I don't know that next week I'll be able to beat this. But saying that, next week we've got The Rock advertised. I think Roman is on the show. Seth's going to be there. Cody's going. It's quite rare to have all four in the same building at the same time. And we do have that next week, so there is a chance that next week can be there or thereabouts again. There is a chance. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Brad said, best Raw of the year by far. I think Austin shows up to help Cody on night 2 of WrestleMania. Brady said, I hope that the Candice Indy story is leading to Indy siding with Candice instead of breaking them up. If the main event of Raw is a preview of what we could see in the future, then I'm excited. Chris said, my official WWE Nerd Stan mark out of 10 rating. Holy shiz, what an image that is. What an image that is. Gio DeFeo said, this is easily the best Raw, let alone the best show of WWE so far this year. Every segment was fire and added to a story rivalry, and every match contributed to a story rivalry. I'm still debating what segment I like better, Punk Seth Drew segment or Rock beating up Cody. Yeah, those are the two, aren't they? Big Mike Talk said it might be an unpopular opinion, but here it goes. Rock had zero reason to bury Cody like that. All it did was make Cody look unworthy of the shot. At the very least, have Cody fight back a little. I think you will see that. I think that might be Friday. That might be Monday. That might be the Friday after. That might be at WrestleMania. I think Cody's comeback will be him winning the title, to be honest. And I think this is us really beating him down, letting him know he's got no chance, disrespecting him. It's kind of wrestling 101, really. He will get his comeback. It just wasn't in this segment. So, Big Mike Talks, shout out to you. I love unpopular opinions. If people have got honest opinions, say them. Put them out there. Put them out there. If that's what you are really thinking, I love unpopular opinions. So bring them on. More of those, please. So nothing but respect for Mike. Big Mike coming out with a hot take. I'm here for that. I'm here for that. Right, what have we got here? These are quote tweets. Here we go. Edward said, The Rock is such an ass wipe. I hope Cody kicks the absolute shiz out of him and makes him effing bleed like a real man. If he doesn't, then God forbid me. I would love to. P.S. I've never got the chance. Never get the chance. Rock's B-ass suck. P.S. I still love Dwayne Johnson. Okay, Edward. Edward a bit all over the place there. I'm going to beat him up. But I do also love Dwayne Johnson. So, Edward, hope you're well. Kian said, it was a great show. Matches were good. The Becky and Rhea segment was good. Then Cody's segment at the start was good. Jey versus Shin was okay, but should have more time. Sami losing was unexpected, but I do feel sorry for Cody, what The Rock did to him. Cody is winning 8 out of 10. Kian, very good. And in order to rebuild great company, you need to break down first. Otherwise, it seems very overly fixed. That is pretty deep from... What is this, Jiff? Let's have a look. WrestleMania. In order to rebuild great company, you need to break down first. Otherwise, it seems overly fixed. Don't even know what that means, but it must be connected to Raw and WrestleMania. Answers on a postcard on that one. So there we go. That was opinions, and we've managed to do it within an hour. How do I stop this? Thank you. Right, appreciate everyone's thoughts and comments. As always, we will do this again following SmackDown. We do this for every Raw, every SmackDown. I really appreciate it. Love hot takes, love unpopular opinions. Definitely looking for more of those. I think obviously everyone's got largely the same thoughts. You can see the segments people enjoyed seem to be the same. A few interesting comments in there as well, absolutely. But yeah, on we go. Let's see if they can keep this momentum going. Obviously we've got NXT tonight. I'm not sure they'll be able to keep it going there, but we do have SmackDown coming up on Friday, and we know a monstrous Raw again as we go home to WrestleMania 40 next week. Thanks for watching. Appreciate the support as always. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.